Right now, as you watch this, the world is holding its breath. One Truth Social post just changed everything. President Donald Trump didn't just draw a line in the sand, he built a wall of fire around it. He told Iran, if Iran shoots, we come to their rescue. Locked and loaded. No qualifiers, no diplomatic padding. A direct warning to the leadership of Iran that if they turn their guns on their own citizens, the United States is prepared to respond with force. Within hours, Iran's answer came back just as blunt. A promise of a regret-inducing strike that would burn American interests from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. This is no longer abstract. We are not speculating about the future. We are inside the decision loop where wars begin. The spark that ignited this crisis didn't come from a missile silo or a secret base. It came from an economy collapsing in real time. Iran's currency has entered free fall, crossing a threshold that economists describe as psychological collapse. One US dollar now trades for roughly 1.4 million reals. Prices no longer rise monthly or weekly, but daily. Bread doubles in cost. Fuel subsidies evaporate. Savings vanish. And when money loses meaning, fear replaces it. But what truly alarmed Tehran was not just the size of the protests. It was who showed up. The Grand Bazaar, long the quiet pillar of regime stability, shut its doors. Merchants who once avoided politics stepped into the streets. Historically, when the bazaar breaks, regimes do too. The protests spread outward like fractures in glass. Tehran, then Isfahan, then Qom, cities once insulated by ideology and security. And then came the deaths. 7 confirmed protesters killed in Lordigan and Hamadan. Not armed insurgents, not militants, civilians. Phone footage raced across social media before censors could stop it. That number, 7, is what triggered Trump's response. This wasn't about regime change. It was about deterrence through threat. Trump's rescue doctrine draws a stark line. Mass violence against peaceful demonstrators is no longer an internal affair. In his view, it becomes a trigger. To Tehran, this doctrine is existential. The regime is now trapped between 2 outcomes it cannot accept: clamp down hard and risk American military intervention, or hold back and allow protests to grow into something uncontrollable. And Iran-esque leadership understands something else. Trump has already shown he is willing to act without waiting for international consensus. They remember the 12-day war of June 2025. They remember Natanz. They remember Fordo. Those strikes weren't officially acknowledged, but their impact was unmistakable. Facilities damaged, timelines delayed, prestige lost. And now Trump isn't threatening infrastructure. He's threatening power. When Trump says locked and loaded, that phrase carries operational meaning in 2026. Carrier strike groups have shifted posture in the Persian Gulf. Strategic aviation assets, including B-21 Raiders, are positioned within striking range. Missile defense networks across Gulf allies have moved to heightened readiness. None of this is symbolic. It's deliberate signaling designed to remove ambiguity. Tehran sees the message clearly, but signaling works both ways, and Iran has never relied on symmetry. Iran's response language, regret-inducing, is calculated ambiguity. It does not promise tanks crossing borders or jets bombing cities. It promises pain without limits. Iran doesn't need to strike the U.S. homeland to hurt Washington. It can target American forces in Iraq and Syria through proxy militias. It can unleash cyber attacks on energy infrastructure. It can harass shipping until insurance markets collapse. And hovering above all of it is the Strait of Hormuz, the single narrow artery through which 1/5 of the world's oil flows. Even the suggestion of closure sends markets into panic. Oil prices are already reacting, not to war, but to fear. This is where the crisis accelerates, because fear moves faster than facts. Markets don't wait for confirmation. Allies don't wait for clarity. Israel certainly doesn't. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has already met Trump privately. Israeli intelligence assesses that if Iran feels cornered, it may activate every remaining proxy simultaneously. Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Syria, cells in Iraq. But Syria itself has changed. The Assad regime is gone, leaving a vacuum where Iran's land bridge once existed. Tehran's strategic depth is weaker than it's been in decades. That weakness makes Iran more dangerous, not less. This is the moment where restraint becomes difficult. Trump believes deterrence requires credibility. Iran believes survival requires defiance. Each believes backing down invites collapse. And history shows that wars often begin not with desires, but with momentum. The question now is not whether tensions will rise further, it's whether anyone still has room to step back. Inside Tehran, emergency meetings are already underway. Senior figures like Ali Larijani and Ali Shamkhani are coordinating what comes next, not assuming calm will return, but planning for escalation. This is not panic, it is preparation. Iran's leadership understands something the public often forgets. Wars don't begin with declarations. They begin with choices framed as necessities. And Iran's strategy is clear. If Washington intervenes, the response will not be clean, isolated, or predictable. It will be regional. Maps circulating in intelligence briefings show what analysts call the Ring of Fire. U.S. bases in Iraq, logistics hubs in Jordan, naval assets in the UAE and Bahrain. Every location is a pressure point. Iran doesn't need to win a conventional war. It needs to make intervention unbearably costly. And the centerpiece of that strategy is technology. In recent months, Iran has quietly expanded its drone programs, focusing not on individual precision strikes, but saturation. Swarms. Hundreds of low-cost suicide drones designed to overwhelm modern air defense systems through sheer volume. This is what analysts believe Iranian officials mean by regret. Not a single catastrophic attack, but 1,000 cuts that stretch defenses, budgets, and political patience. Meanwhile, Israel is watching for a different signal. The moment Tehran decides escalation is unavoidable, Netanyahu's calculus is ruthless. If Iran appears ready to strike, Israel may attempt a decapitation strike aimed at leadership and command centers, believing delay equals vulnerability. In this scenario, the United States provides cover under the rescue doctrine, while Israel executes offensive operations. It would be a two-pronged escalation, and one that would redraw regional alignments overnight. And then there is the midnight scenario. Analysts are watching the protests hour by hour. If one more protester is killed tonight, what happens tomorrow morning? Does Trump issue another warning? Or does posture turn into orders? Does Iran double down on repression or strike outward to shift attention? These decisions don't happen in isolation. They happen under stress, misinformation, and domestic pressure. And once the cycle turns violent, it feeds itself. This is why this moment is so dangerous, because both sides believe time favors them, and both may be wrong. Trump believes strength now prevents greater bloodshed later. Tehran believes resistance now prevents disintegration tomorrow. Neither leader wants war, but both are preparing for it, and preparation itself can become the trigger. The news cycle cannot keep up with this pace. Events are moving in minutes, not days. Diplomatic channels are active, but fragile. One misinterpreted movement, one leaked video, one order given too late or too early. This is how regional wars start, not with hatred. With fear, pride, and the inability to retreat without losing face, Trump says he's ready. Iran says they're ready. The real question is not what happens next, but whether anyone is prepared for what happens after. Because once this line is crossed, there is no undo button. The map doesn't just change, the rules do. The world is watching. And whether we realize it or not, we're already closer than we've been in years. Are you ready?